Friends, this story is set in the future. Far away in an unknown place, two men are traveling together in a small boat. Everything feels calm. Suddenly, one man senses danger. In fear, he says only one thing: "They are coming." Then, without explaining anything, he starts braking the boat on purpose. The other man is shocked and terrified. As the boat sinks, both of them jump into the river, where many dead bodies are already floating. So who were these two men, and what were they so afraid of? We will find out in today's story. Before the story really begins, there is something important to understand. The makers of this movie play with our minds. Many parts of the story are left open, so the meaning feels deep and hidden. That's why you need to listen carefully. The story begins in the future. We see a doctor doing medical tests on a small girl. During the test, her DNA sample is checked, but she fails. This test is part of a selection system. In this world, food and water are extremely rare. Famine has spread everywhere. Big corporate cities allow only certain people to live inside their walls, only those whose DNA is completely clean, with no genetic problems. Even crops are no longer grown naturally. The land is dry and dead, so seeds are created inside laboratories. The people inside these cities still want full control over humanity, but the end of mankind is slowly coming. All this destruction is caused by human greed and the desire for power. Humans have damaged nature so badly that even insects are almost gone. Rain still falls, but it is mostly chemical rain. Clean water is so rare that people now boil this chemical rain just to survive. Humanity is desperately searching for one real, natural seed. If they find it, they might be able to grow food again and save the future. But finding such a seed is almost impossible. Outside the city gates, parents pray that their child will pass the DNA test and be allowed inside the corporate city, where life is safer. Those who fail are sent back. As one rejected family leaves, a child sees artificial crops growing inside the city and runs toward them out of curiosity. But high-voltage electric fences instantly burn the child to ashes. This moment shows how valuable food has become, more precious than gold. The electric fence is not just protection, it is a symbol of discrimination. Only people with clean DNA are allowed inside. Everyone else is pushed outside into a place called the Deadland. Here, doctors are not just healers. They decide who gets to live and who does not. Inside the city, we meet a man named Errol. He is a scientist studying artificial crops and collecting data from them. But these crops are not real. They are genetically made. Errol is worried because the crops are unsafe to eat. Once again, his experiment has failed. The city is filled with chaos. A harsh system has taken control, and people are left to suffer on their own. When Errol reports the failure to his boss, the boss becomes furious. He shouts that they are scientists in name only, unable to create even one real seed after so many years. In anger, he says there was once a man who could solve this problem, a doctor who had written a thesis about it, but the leaders ignored him. That doctor disappeared long ago, and no one knows where he is now. His name was Dr. Semmel. Even today, most doctors believe Semmel's ideas were foolish. Who Dr. Semmel truly was, and what his ideas really meant, you will discover as the story continues. Now, Errol decides that he must learn the truth about Dr. Semmel. While searching for clues, Errol visits a plant-growing laboratory and asks one of the doctors about Semmel. The doctor tells him that Semmel worked there many years ago, but one day he suddenly disappeared. No one knows where he went. The doctor also adds that some people once saw Semmel leaving his daughter behind and walking alone toward the Deadland. He then explains something more tragic. Dr. Semmel had built a secret laboratory inside his own house to continue his experiments. One day a fire broke out in that house. In the accident, Semmel's wife died, but his daughter survived. So there is a chance that his daughter might know something about where her father went. After this, Errol travels by subway to the poorer part of the corporate city. Here, people live in terrible, homeless-like conditions. In this area, Errol works with a man named Andre. Together, they run a hidden laboratory. In this lab, they experiment on plants and animals, trying to modify DNA to create real seeds. But Andre tells Errol that every experiment keeps failing after a few attempts. Nothing lasts. Hearing this, Errol feels defeated. He then asks Andre about Dr. Semmel. Andre says that if Semmel ever officially worked in the corporate city, then his records must exist in the city archives. Errol immediately goes to the archive station. Inside, thousands of animal and plant species are preserved. From the section that contains records of doctors, Errol finally finds Dr. Semmel's address and goes straight to his house. When Errol enters the house, he sees that the roof is badly burned. Inside, he finds Semmel's daughter sitting alone. She is the child who survived the fire, and her skin is still badly scarred from the burns. Errol notices something strange. She is quietly learning a language that he has never seen or heard before. Errol asks her about the language and about her father, but she does not reply. She just keeps staring at him in silence. As Errol turns to leave, the girl suddenly speaks. She says only one line: Follow the wheat grain. Then she goes back to what she was doing. Errol understands nothing. He leaves the house completely confused, with no clear direction. Now only one option remains: to go underground. The underground parts of the city are dangerous places where essential goods are traded illegally and secret deals happen all the time. Here, Errol meets a man named Leon, a person who knows everything that happens in the city, but knowledge is never free. Errol gives Leon a hybrid engineered insect, one of the last surviving insect species on Earth. This also shows that Leon has an obsession with collecting rare insects. In return, Errol asks about the route to the Deadland. Leon is the only person who knows how to enter the Deadland without being killed by the electric poles. Leon warns Errol that once he enters the Deadland, he will be completely alone. However, he also tells Errol that a girl named Alice will help him, both to enter the Deadland and to find a way back out. After this, Errol returns to his home. There we see that a strange wound has appeared on his stomach. To keep it under control, he injects himself with medicine regularly. In this future world, natural food is gone, and because of that, the human immune system has become very weak. Most bodies can no longer heal themselves properly. Later, Errol sits near his window and watches an old interview of Dr. Semmel on a projector. The interview was recorded many years ago. In it, Semmel warned humanity not to interfere with nature. He spoke about growing crops from real grain seeds, not artificial ones, but no one listened to him. Soon after, he left his daughter behind and disappeared into the Deadland. Friends, this shows a clear truth. In the future, humans may have wealth and advanced technology, but what is the use of it when there is no real food to eat and no healthy soil to grow it? Living only on lab-made food has weakened even the human immune system. The next day, Errol meets Alice, the woman sent by Leon. She quickly realizes that Errol plans to take Andre with him into the Deadland. She warns him that she can send only one person because taking two is extremely dangerous. Errol insists anyway. Alice replies coldly, "If you want to die, then die. Just don't blame me later. And if anything happens, don't mention my name or Leon's." After this, the three of them move toward the outer boundary of the city. The main routes are heavily guarded, so they secretly pass through an old village and reach an empty area. There, Alice injects tracking devices into both Errol and Andre, so she can find them if needed. Using special goggles, Alice studies the energy waves of the electric towers. By throwing stones at exact points, she creates a narrow, safe path through the barrier. She sends both men into the Deadland. Before leaving, Alice tells them she will return after exactly 5 days. Whatever they need to do must be finished within that time. Now Errol and Andre are inside the Deadland. Soon they spot a surveillance drone. If it sees humans, it kills them instantly. Both men run and hide until the drone leaves. Then they check their map, choose a direction, and move forward. Their journey begins. As they travel, they see strange mountains where trees and large plants are almost gone. Only small plants remain, and they are poisonous. Radiation has made the land completely toxic. They stop near a camp below. From a distance, they realize the people there died after eating fish from poisoned water. Errol warns Andre not to touch anything. As night comes, they move a little farther and rest. There, Errol asks Andre why he came into the Deadland. Andre answers sadly. Before his birth, doctors tested his DNA. They allowed Andre to stay inside the corporate city, but his mother was sent back to the Deadland. For years, Andre dreamed of finding her, but never knew how. That is why he came, to find any trace of his mother in the Deadland. For the next few days, both of them keep moving forward in the same direction. They walk through empty land with no signs of life. One day, they come across an old wooden boat. With no other option, they use that boat and travel on the water for the whole day. By the end of the journey, they finally reach a quiet, empty shore. There at last, they meet Dr. Semmel. The moment Semmel sees them, he becomes alert and suspicious. He thinks they are people from the corporate cities and immediately tries to send them away. He does not want any trouble. Errol quickly explains himself. He tells Semmel that he only wants to understand his genetic theory once. He says his goal is to grow real, natural crops by using a hybrid method so humanity can survive. Otherwise, extinction is very close. Errol explains that in the corporate cities, scientists have tried again and again to grow plants using artificial methods. They used advanced labs and synthetic biology, but every plant failed and died. Now they have reached a point where they have no hope left without Semmel's help. But Semmel refuses to listen. He says this place is no longer safe. While removing all signs that someone lives there, he gets into his boat and prepares to leave. Errol begs him to take him along. Semmel answers coldly that his journey has no fixed destination. He says he chooses to live alone. As Semmel starts rowing away, Errol does not give up. He jumps into the water, swims after the boat, and climbs onto it. Andre stays behind, because he needs to travel in another direction to search for his mother, so Errol continues alone with Semel. On the boat, Errol tells Semel that he met his daughter. He also mentions that she was learning a strange and unknown language by herself. Hearing this, Semel smiles softly for a moment, but he says nothing. After some time, they notice many dead bodies floating in the river. The moment Semel sees this, he understands that danger is very close. Without thinking, he starts braking the boat. Errol is shocked and asks why he is doing this. Semel calmly replies, "I already warned you. You cannot survive if you stay with me." As the boat begins to sink, Semel tells Errol to stay still underwater and hold his breath. Just then, a corporate city surveillance drone appears above them. It scans the area carefully. After some time, the drone flies away. That drone kills any living human it detects in this region. This is why this land is called the Dead Land. Nearby, the drone destroys another boat, and all the people from that boat are now floating dead in the water around them. Suddenly, they hear the cry of a baby. They follow the sound and find a small child. The baby is shaking badly, suffering from high fever because of the cold water. Semel wraps the child carefully to keep it warm. Without wasting time, both of them start moving toward a hidden refugee camp. After traveling for an entire day, crossing dry hills and empty land, they finally reach a secret place. This is where people who were sent to the Dead Land try to survive somehow. Some people secretly bring supplies from the city and sell them there. Semel gives the baby to an unknown woman in the camp. The woman smiles with relief, accepts the child, and promises to take care of it. The next morning, they continue their journey. As they walk, Errol notices something strange. Semel keeps placing lab-made grain seeds on the ground at different places. When Errol asks why, Semel says this is the first step of his theory. He explains that when disasters happen, small creatures like ants start collecting and storing food to survive. For a long time, Semel has been placing these seeds, hoping an ant would pick one up and lead him to its food storage. But now even ants seem to be gone. And that, Semel believes, is the real beginning of human destruction, when the smallest life forms disappear. They move ahead through dry, empty farmland where nothing grows anymore. Suddenly, it starts raining, and both of them panic. This is not normal rain. It is acid rain. They quickly take shelter inside a broken bus because the rain can badly burn human skin. Once the rain stops, they continue walking. After crossing a hill, they stop there for the night. Semel draws a circle on the ground, cleans the area inside it, and sets up their tent. The reason for this will be understood later. Errol notices fire burning far away on the land. Semel explains that acid rain reacting with chemical soil often causes the ground to catch fire. He adds that years ago, all soil bacteria were destroyed, making the land toxic. Animals and insects slowly died or escaped, and whatever clean soil remained was taken by corporations into the cities. That night, Semel prepares simple food, lentils and oats made with boiled acid rainwater. This shows how humans have slowly adapted just to survive. The next morning, they erase the circle and continue their journey. After 4 or 5 hours of walking, they reach another mountain path. Semel checks a grain seed he placed earlier. It is still untouched, showing that no insects came near it. A few hours later, they arrive at an old broken house. Semel takes a roll inside. The main room is covered with a black sheet. Semel closes the doors, removes the sheet, and lifts the floorboards. What Errol sees shocks him. Hidden beneath the house is real fertile soil. Semel touches the soil gently. Errol does the same. In this world, this soil is more valuable than gold, and it still holds living bacteria. Errol smells it, feels its coolness, and even rubs it on his body and wound. Under Semel's guidance, Errol fills the soil into bags. Semel speaks like a teacher guiding his student. He says they will take this soil by boat to a place where crops can grow again, a line whose true meaning will be revealed later. They carry the soil out and load it onto a wooden boat near the hill. After some time, Errol becomes exhausted, but Semel keeps working without slowing down. Finally, Errol is so tired that he lies down inside the soil itself, where Semel is already resting. Surrounded by the cool soil, Errol sleeps. When he opens his eyes again, Semel is gone. Remember this moment carefully. It is very important. As they continue their work, night slowly sets in. Only one last bag of soil is left. Errol lifts it and starts carrying it down the path. On the way, he notices a small boy standing there. Curious, Errol asks who he is. The boy answers softly, "You look very tired. I live in a nearby village. I brought some food for you. Eat first, then finish your work." Errol is exhausted and almost trusts the child. But before he can respond, Semel suddenly appears and puts the boy into a deep, lifeless sleep. The boy collapses to the ground. Seeing this, Errol is filled with anger. Without saying a word, he turns around and walks back toward the house. He spends the entire night sitting there, waiting for Semel to return so he can ask him why he did this. But Semel does not come back. The next morning, when Errol finally sees Semel, he immediately asks, "Why did you kill that child?" Semel looks at him calmly and smiles. He replies, "You will understand later." Then Semel asks Errol to lift his shirt. When Errol does, he is shocked to see that the wound on his stomach has completely healed. Still, Errol keeps demanding answers about the child. Semel remains silent. Instead of explaining, Semel quietly walks toward a nearby village, and Errol follows him. As soon as they enter, the villagers see them as strangers and start throwing stones at them. Frightened, Errol hides to protect himself, but Semel does not react with fear. With a peaceful smile, he begins collecting the stones being thrown and uses them to build a wall. While Errol is hiding, Alice suddenly appears beside him. She tells him that 5 days have passed and she has come to take him back. She tracked him using the device implanted in his neck, but Errol refuses to leave and asks her to go away. At this moment, Alice cannot see Dr. Semel at all. The meaning of this will become clear later. Errol returns to Semel and warns him that the villagers are attacking them. He asks why Semel is building a wall and urges him to leave. But Semel only smiles and points toward the wall. When Errol looks through it, he sees something unbelievable. On the other side, there are green trees, open land, and children laughing and playing. In that moment, Semel disappears. Errol slowly closes the wall. From this moment, Errol begins to change. He walks back to the base of the hill and, calmly and without resistance, starts carrying all the soil bags back into the house, placing them exactly where they were before. After returning every bag, he notices something strange. One grain seed is missing. Looking closely, he sees an ant carrying the grain seed that Semel had placed earlier. Errol quietly follows the ant until it reaches its nest. From the surface, the ant's home looks small, but underground it spreads far and wide. Using a simple drawing, Errol understands where ants store their food and begins digging with his bare hands. After some time, he makes an incredible discovery. The ants had hidden grain seeds long before the disaster, seeds from a time when the world was still alive. Some seeds are lab-made, but most of them are old, natural, organic seeds. Now Errol has fertile soil and real grain seeds. With these, a new hope for humanity is born. But does Errol actually use these seeds? The filmmakers do not give a clear answer. They leave this question for us to think about and to imagine what might have happened next. Now let's understand the deeper meaning of these scenes in very simple words. First, the scene where Semel keeps drawing a circle on the ground. This scene is about the human mind and spirituality. It shows a clear idea. If a person wants to fix or clean the outside world, they must first fix what is inside them. Only when the mind is calm and clear can a person act wisely in the world. From another angle, Semel is training his mind. No matter how broken or dangerous the world outside becomes, his small inner space stays safe. His peace does not depend on chaos, fear, or destruction around him. Now let's talk about the second message, the villagers throwing stones. This scene also has a simple spiritual meaning. Whenever you try to do something good, people will question you, insult you, and try to stop you. That is how the world reacts to change. But the lesson is clear. Do not leave the right path just because people oppose you. Stay steady, even when others try to hurt you. The third important scene is the child offering food to Errol. That child was not real. It was a symbol of Errol's own mind. His mind was telling him to stop working, to rest, to choose comfort over effort. This happens to everyone. When a person is very close to success, the mind often creates excuses, hunger, tiredness, fear, or comfort to pull them away from the goal. Semel, acting like a teacher or guide, puts the child to sleep. This means he stops Errol from giving in to distraction. The child looks innocent because such thoughts always feel harmless, but trusting them can make a person quit just before reaching the goal. Now comes the most important and confusing scene, Semel disappearing and appearing on the other side of the stone wall. In reality, Semel had already left when Errol woke up that morning. When Semel appears again later, he is not physically there. He exists only inside Errol's mind. This scene shows how a teacher works. A true teacher guides a student through confusion, protects them from wrong paths, teaches them what they need to know, and then steps away. The green trees, sunlight, and happy children on the other side of the wall represent peace, balance, and truth. Semel moving there means his role is finished. Errol now has to walk his own path. Semel never really entered the village with Errol. He was guiding him from inside, like a voice of wisdom. This guidance breaks when Alice appears. Alice represents reality. She pulls Errol out of his inner world and back into the real one. When Errol understands this difference, Semel disappears forever. This scene tells us something simple but powerful. A person can see true peace only when they break the mental walls created by ego, fear, and false beliefs. Now let's talk about the grain seeds saved by ants. This is the strongest message of the story. Humans, with all their science and technology, failed to protect nature. But ants, Tiny creatures save the future without any machines or power. Why does Errol return the soil and hide it again? Because he finally understands something important. Saving the world does not need more technology. It needs respect for nature and simplicity. Returning the soil shows his inner change and regret. At the beginning, Errol believed only in science, control, and genetic experiments. But Semmel teaches him that the real problem is not the soil or the seed. The real problem is human ego, the need to control nature instead of living with it. Semmel made Errol carry the soil only so he could understand this mistake. Nature is not something to be taken into a lab and controlled. That way of thinking leads to destruction. In the end, it is likely that Errol gives the seeds back to the ants instead of using them himself. He no longer wants to be a savior scientist. He becomes a protector of nature. The black and white ending shows that one day, cars, houses, and wealth will lose all meaning. When food, hard work, and nature become most important, farmers, workers, and true humans will matter the most. The final message of the story is simple. Modern technology and genetic control are destroying nature. The future of life depends on balance, simplicity, and spiritual understanding. And with this message, the story ends. Thank you for listening till the end.
अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से जलाओ ना मुझे मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से जलाओ ना मुझे मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से कोई प्यार ना दे यूं जैसे मुझको चाहती है तू ज़माने के जैसी न बन मेरे यार जैसी है तू ज़माना जलाता मुझे लगाती गले फिर से तू मैं गिर के उठा हूँ अभी हर चीज सिखाती है तू मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया 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 ख्वाहिश मेरी रह गई तुझसे मिलूं मैं कभी तुझको मैं प्यार दूं और बेशुमार दूं दिल तो जला है बहुत इसकी सजा है बहुत फिर भी तेरा ही रहा मेरी नहीं मानता जितना भी चाहूं तुम्हें मिलना है दर्द मुझे होता है क्या इस तरह कोई भी इश्क यहाँ तुम जो मेरी ना बनी किसको बताता फिरूं ये दाग दिल अपना किसको दिखाता फिरूं वक्त बदलता है सबका तुझको तो इसका पता था फिर मुंह क्यों मोड़ गई थी मुझको यूं छोड़ गई थी साथ निभाना था मैंने दिल भी जलाना था मैंने फिर क्यों मेरी ना बनी थी और ये सजा बन गई थी जिसको मैं जीता रहा था ये दर्द पीता रहा था ऐसी निशानी है तू ऐसी कहानी है तू मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया 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 अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना अब इसके पार है, तेरा मेरा ठिकाना अब इसके पार है, फिर तुझसे दिल लगाना अब इसके पार है।